Welcome to 50/50 Books, the book review podcast where the books are split in two and figuring out just what is going on is always a toss-up. I'm Taylor.
And I'm Jonathan. This episode we are reading The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year by Allie Carter, up to but not including chapter 37. It is the holiday season. Taylor, how are we feeling?
I mean, if you've listened to the previous Catcher in the Rye episodes, you know my mood is not great. That'll probably continue. But I'm doing fine. This book is fine. I have no strong feelings yet. I have nothing else to say. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I hear you on the seasonal depression. It is cloudy. It has been cloudy, and it is far too cold, far too soon this year for me. That being said, I am a sucker for some Christmas decorations, so I'm glad we're getting that out. As far as this book, I've been doing the audiobook this time around and feel like kind of impressed. This is a pretty short book, and it's definitely like we targeted it as cozy mystery, right? So I think that already comes with some like assumptions and expectations for us as readers, like the sort of genres we tend to like. But I've been impressed by the investment of production in the audiobook. Like they have a voice actor for Ethan and Maggie who are like doing the narration but also doing like vocal parts for them.
Oh wow.
And they have like in the inspector reports, it's like it sounds like a tape, like they've edited the audio a little bit to sound like a tape playing back. So there's things like that where I'm like, oh, okay, like it's kind of fun that they put this extra effort in for like the vibes.
Right. Right off the bat, we get Maggie hating Christmas, hating parties, hating Ethan. And honestly, 2 out of 3, I understand, because I also kind of hate Christmas and I also kind of hate parties. Maybe I'm more apathetic than full-on hate towards those things, but she's had a rough go in regards to her Christmases, so it's understandable for her. But yeah, she comes across, at least in her mind, very like negative, very closed off, but obviously that's a little bit of its own persona, I think, for her, like her being the ice queen of the cozy mystery. Like
right
she complains about Ethan's brand and things like that, but I think she has a little bit of that too, and it seems as though she's more charming than she gives herself credit for
sure. You're saying like because she like leans into that character of being like the quiet, darker one.
I think so, yeah. Like, I think her anxiety is very internal. I think she comes across very cool, calm, collected on the outside.
Yeah, I think that's true. We just finished watching Over the Garden Wall. Have you ever seen that?
No, but I've heard good things.
Yeah, it's this like pretty short, I think like 10-episode Cartoon Network cartoon. And there's kind of like a similar thing going on in there where like the main character clearly has like anxiety and like has, a bad self-image. And he's like he's a teenager. He's talking about how he like, lost the girl to this guy Jason, who's like, got it all and is perfect for her. And then you like eventually come around to seeing Jason and he's like kind of a dweeb, It's like, I think it's kind of got the same energy to it of like, oh, like, no, actually you're very successful, Maggie. Like you are in the same ranks as this person that you like hate, that you see as like, oh, so successful, but like you just don't give yourself the credit for it.
Right, like she was being pushed for that book club award, whatever it was, with Ethan. Like they were on the same level.
Yeah, I also see her frustration just because I think he had a bestseller as like his most recent book, and maybe she hasn't reached that yet. So she's like, oh, like he's coming up a little faster than me. But I don't know if that's like enough, right? Like I can understand some jealousy around there, but I don't think that means she's not in the same league.
Yeah, I think it's also a problem because Colin obviously is taking credit for her success. We got another one, John. This is like the 3rd book.
I know.
Where we have a partner, I guess, stealing the creative work of one of the characters. In this, it seems like Colin is emotionally abusing her, gaslighting her. It's their successes, but it's her failures is something that she talks about. So I can understand her thinking less of her own work because she's still maybe not sure if it's her. Like she's still coming back to her into her power as like an author, right? Like
that makes sense, right? Like it's a relatively recent separation. I don't know how much work she has done since that separation that she can then be like, oh, look, no, like I did these things by myself. I am successful on my own.
She is working on something when we start this book, but it seems like she's not going to meet her deadline, and Deborah ends up extending it anyway. So, yeah, she is writing something, but yeah, she seems to be struggling. I mean, it makes sense. She's apparently agoraphobic, at least in the moment. She's having some trauma about her divorce and a legal battle, it seems, in regards to all of that. And she lost her best friend because she was a piece of shit. So
yes, oh my goodness,
yeah, it's a lot.
No, she's definitely going through it, so it does make a lot of sense. That was also just like a wild situation, but one that I felt like I saw coming a bit. Like in the first scenes of Colin and Emily in the car, I was like, oh, like these two are gonna end up together. And actually, when the book even says like, they do a thing where there's like, Maggie knew 3 things in that moment. Number 1 is about Emily. Number 2 is about Emily. And then number 3 says she knew that she loved Colin. And I was like, oh yeah, Emily loves Colin.
Oh, yeah. For me, I read that and I understood it was about Maggie, but I was like, she literally just lost her parents and now she thinks she's in love with Colin, and I'm like, oh, she is not in the right state of mind for this.
Yeah, no way. And it's a shame, yeah, because she'll never, like, I mean, they end up married, right? There's no moment of clarity for her afterwards, which makes it, like, I could see that not happening, because at what point would there have been that, like, physical or mental separation? Well, I guess there probably was physical separation during college, but, like, mental separation of, like, no, like, I should think carefully and have my full clear mind before I keep on going to the next step.
Yeah. It does make you wonder, like, how long Colin and Emily have been cheating.
100%.
Yeah, at the very least, it doesn't seem like Maggie... I don't want to say that. Maggie might have also cheated. I don't know.
Oh, because we don't know about, like, the Tucson thing or whatever.
Yeah, because obviously Ethan has been into her the whole time, and they have a lot of history. They've gone to a lot of cons together, and there's some mysterious event that's happened that neither of them talk about. And my immediate thought is like, did they hook up? I'm not really sure. I know. Because like even Ethan is serious about it. He's like, yeah, we don't talk about it. And it's like, why does he care so much? So
the whole background thing is weird to me, where it seems like they don't know each other at all, but they do know each other. Mm-hmm. Like I'm having trouble like parsing that out, because it has been 5 years, and the first meeting they had was like kind of positive, right? So it's weird to me that it's ended up in this like, he doesn't even know my name situation, especially if that's the case. So if we find that like, oh, they hooked up, I'm gonna be like, no, like I actually think Maggie is bullshitting herself and everyone about any status of this relationship, which I think we already kind of know, because Ethan's like, why do you hate me? But that would just confirm that more.
I guess it's fun. I don't know, like, to have a rival.
There's like the bit too of like privilege, I think, that the author is trying to put in here. It's one that I've like globbed onto less than some of these other ideas, but this idea that like, well, he's advancing so quickly because he's like a conventionally attractive man, and because he's a man at all, right, that he's able to like get more, I don't know, more progress, and that's maybe what led him to get the book club and get the bestseller and things like that. So I think there's some disdain for him that's not really disdain for him, but disdain for male privilege, that she's like unable to parse from the fact that he didn't make those active decisions. It's like he's benefiting from them, and that's why she doesn't like him.
Right. Yeah, because she calls his genre leather jacket books, right? Which I think are just like thrillers, mystery thrillers, like action books.
Yeah, I think I was thinking action. For some reason, I was still thinking mystery, but I was like, I guess just more action oriented. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they both do mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's already like looking down on his genre by calling them leather jacket books, which is crazy because she writes cozy mysteries. And normally I wouldn't judge, but she's judging, so I'm going to judge her.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the idea of leather jacket books is like a very white male privilege type of genre, right? Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what she's tapping into, to your point with the privilege and things like that. I understand the sentiment. And then obviously she's judging him for like, we get the scene of him getting a bunch of texts from women.
Yes.
So she's judging that a little bit too, but she also notes like, I don't know anything about him, so
Yeah, exactly. I just thought it was an interesting thing to highlight too, given there's a brief line of her having grown up poor. It doesn't really get a lot of attention. I think it's just brief context before her parents die, really. And I think it's supposed to maybe give Maggie some more depth, but it just the fact that it doesn't really inform anything else doesn't, to me, make it feel like it gives her more depth. I think it just informs this one particular opinion, and I think it's also just supposed to show that she had to like try to get here and like emphasize a contrast, as though Ethan didn't have to try to get here, which I'm sure he did, but just now that he's here, it's easier for him.
It does feel like we needed to give her a struggle type of situation.
That's the thing. I'm like, we killed off her parents so she could meet Emily, right? Like, there's no. I've yet to find another reason for her parents to be killed off, and then we made her poor so that way she pulled herself up by her bootstraps. Like, that's, to me, it is a bit forced.
Yeah, it also feels like we're trying to trap Maggie in the Colin Emily relationship, right? Because if she just meets Emily normally, like if they happen to share a dorm or if they went to the same party or whatever, right? Then it's like, I don't know. In the scenario in the book, you can feel bad for Maggie for falling into this relationship because she was in a bad place in her life, right? But if she was doing fine and she met Emily just happenstance and she ended up with Colin, then it's almost like, well, you did that, right? Like you chose to enter a relationship with him. Why would you do that? You can almost start to blame her as the victim.
Interesting.
I might be looking too deeply into that, but
I think that's a good point to think about, though, as far as like being almost trapped in this friendship from the beginning. I mean, just the same way you pointed out she wasn't in a good mental state getting into a relationship with Colin, she was in that same exact mental state becoming friends with Emily.
Mm-hmm.
And there were moments when she talked about her friendship with Emily, and this was before I fully did understand that it was Emily that was involved with this divorce and cheating situation, but there are a few moments when she's talking about Emily where I'm like, did she like Emily, or was she like kind of just jealous of her the whole time? And like that's why she kept her around, or like just kept her, just hung out with her on default. Like I wonder if there is a chance of them becoming friends outside of like she did this nice thing of inviting her home, which is a really nice thing. Like don't get me wrong, but like I just wonder if they actually had friendship chemistry otherwise.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, without the mystery aspect of this book, because there are like two different books happening here.
Yeah.
I feel like the romance part of this book has some interesting trauma stuff going on.
Like I said, I do still find myself curious about the development of the Colin, Emily, Maggie trifecta throughout time. Like I would not have minded more details on that. At this point, I don't think it's necessary, but yeah, it's almost like it is its own story.
Yeah, I was honestly thinking, because we were getting the flashbacks of Colin and Emily, that they were going to somehow be in the book. Like, they were also going to be at this party, because we gave them a lot of attention for, in my opinion, not enough of a reason. Like, I know we're, like, setting up Maggie's backstory, whatever, but we kind of understood from the beginning, without the flashbacks, that Maggie's best friend had cheated with Maggie's husband. And I was like, okay, that's enough for me to understand the situation.
Yeah. It feels like it's in the middle ground of like, if you gave more information, it'd be a story about that. And if you gave less information, it would be a mystery.
Right. So it's like, yeah, maybe we just need to choose the lane here, but
I see that.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have anything else to say about the romance.
We talked a ton about Maggie there, but
I think the whole rivals aspect of their relationship is kind of weak. I wouldn't really call this a rivals to lovers.
No, I mean, the rivalry is one-sided. Ethan has no idea that there's a rivalry until she says something, so.
Yeah, literally no clue. And
it's all this, like, projection that Maggie has of, like, oh, like, he is... It's insecurities, right, of, like, being a stereotype, I guess, right? Where, like, we talked a little bit about her being the cozy mystery person. She's putting this whole, like, persona on him of being, like, social media oriented, which I don't think there's any justification for. I don't think we actually see social media interaction. Just, yeah, like, this whole imagery on him that just doesn't, like, have any real basis, and she's decided that's enough to hate him. Like, she's just doing the most.
Yeah, but sometimes being a hater is fun, I guess.
I guess. It's just, and like, I get that too. There's something a little bit grade school about it, but like, admittedly, I think there's something adult about that too, right? Of like, you see that person who like, seems like they got it all, like they're good looking, they're successful, like, maybe they've got a family or something. Like, it seems like they're following the path, capital T, capital P, you know? So I can see that too, but she just really is like taking it to the next level where she's like, he is not a real person. He is this image I have of him. But her problem is extending that to think that's how everyone sees him. Of like, no, he's not a real person to anyone. He is just an image. So I think that's why it's like, that's where it goes to too much. It's like, all right, we can hate in our heads, we can hate with our one friend, but let's be careful about being like, no, I'm going to treat this person this way because they are a social media ad.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also funny.
A little bit. Their banter isn't terrible in this book. Some of it is fun.
I think some of it is fun, but I think some of particularly Ethan's behavior feels a bit forced. Like he's also doing too much, but in a very different way. Like with the like want to make out like thing, that feels too. What would be a reason to be behaving that way? Like I can't see like this reasonable interaction where he's like, yes, this is a normal thing to say to another adult human being on a regular basis, especially one that is technically his coworker.
Yeah, that, and then also when they slept in the same room most recently, and like he opened the door and like he called her sexy or whatever. I got such an ick. Like, I
think he's kind of icky though. He also like picks her up and moves her. I don't support that.
Yeah, it's, oh my god.
Yeah. That being said, like I don't dislike either of these characters. I think Maggie's a little ridiculous, and I think, but yeah, I'm like, I think Ethan's a little funny, but I think I mostly like Ethan. Like I'm down. There's definitely been cozy mysteries and romances and stuff where I'm like, I actually don't even like these characters, but I do like these two.
Yeah, I don't hate them so far. I think, I don't know, if Ethan doesn't stop saying want to make out, I might start to hate him because it's really starting to piss me off.
That's fair.
But when they first get to the house and meet Eleanor and Maggie is having a breakdown and Ethan like helps her through that experience, I was like, this is good. This is the good stuff.
Right. I guess there's also the issue of we don't really understand why Ethan likes her so much because it's a love at first sight thing, right? So when he's this behavior is almost solely creepy as a result, right? Because they don't have a relationship. There's no grounds for this.
I mean, we'll probably get more depth of that because we're in Ethan's POV.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, for him, we don't know. And then for Maggie, it seems entirely physical, which I always hate.
And there hasn't really even been like the hint of like, oh, but secretly he's good in this way. Like it's really mostly been criticism.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like one time, like she feels safe around him. I guess that's the one compliment she has. But part of that is also tied to his physicality, so.
Yeah, because like really what needs to happen here is Ethan needs to convince her that he's worth learning about. Not necessarily that he's even like a good guy or something. She just doesn't know anything about him, so he needs to like behave in a way that is inviting, maybe safe, you know, to give her the permission to look more at him and say, "Oh, he's decent in this way. I like this about him. Like I want to hang out with him more." I think we're getting there, but inevitably this is a romance that I think it's just going to end with them together. Like it's not going to start something, it's going to end something, right? It's going to bring them into we are lovers now as opposed to we're opening up, getting to know one another.
Yeah, and I have a feeling the shift in their relationship will probably be physical based. Like I'm assuming there'll be like a tension moment that just, you know.
Yeah, I do think that like wanna make out is gonna land at some point.
I mean, it has to. It keeps being brought up so freaking much.
Mm-hmm.
But romance aside, I guess we've talked enough about it. I guess we should talk about the actual mystery of the book.
Yeah, this has been a shockingly slow burn for a short book because we really are just kind of just getting to the mystery.
In regards to suspects, what's happening, we literally have no information.
We just like know everyone exists.
Yeah, but motives, questioning, like we really haven't gotten anything good.
Yeah.
If there even is a crime to be solved, I guess.
I mean, there's definitely a crime, just maybe not a murder.
I don't know.
I mean, someone shot at Maggie. That's a crime, no?
Well, I don't know.
Oh my gosh, okay. I'm curious to see where this is coming from.
Yeah, but let's start at the beginning. We have Eleanor Ashley, who is the Duchess of Death, apparently, Maggie's favorite writer. She's obviously gathered this group for some reason. Some of them are just her family, it seems like. A lot of nieces, a nephew.
I mean, there's a mention of, like, regularity to Christmas. Like I think the lawyer is like, it's my turn to do it this time. So I think I think this is expected for some people. I think what's unexpected is like these two random writers, or I don't know if Jasper is also new, but like the random writers that are at this one.
Yeah. There's like hints of there being some kind of plan, of there being some kind of twist.
Mm-hmm.
Eleanor seems to look at these people and they're not her friends, but she seems amused by the setting that's happening here. So it feels like she's more in the know.
Yeah, definitely like implied manipulation happening here. Like she knows what's up. She's putting something together. She mentions like, "Oh, I didn't plan the storm, but like that's fun." Like she's ready for something here.
Yeah. And then obviously Deborah had set Maggie up by saying like something is happening next year. You could be a part of it. So something is happening, and it seems to be tied to this party. And it seems to kick off when Eleanor disappears from her office, which is locked from the inside. Music was playing that night. Cece dropped off tea, which ends up in the room, but nobody's really seen her since that previous night. So we don't really know when she left. Everybody seems shocked, but not shocked enough at the
not
fact
shocked
that this...
for their lives. Like they're not concerned for their lives.
Yeah. But this woman has just disappeared in the middle of like a snowstorm, and nobody is concerned. But I think all these people kind of want her to die, so...
Yeah, not that we know why, but yes, I think that is true.
Yeah.
I think they all probably assume they have some stake in her, will, estate, whatever. That's why they continue showing up. I also just have trouble believing that Eleanor is the type of person for whom this is their life. Like, as in, Maggie's like, oh, like, Eleanor also, like me, does not have friends. I'm like, I just struggle to believe that Eleanor doesn't have friends and this is what she's stuck with. Unless she's just so old that all her friends have died, but I don't think that's the case.
I could maybe believe it if we're going like the route in which if you strive too hard for success, you end up alone type of situation. Because Eleanor has written how many books? 100? And that's a lot. That's a lot of work.
500 words a day goes far.
Yeah, but I think she has friends more than this group knows. Like, I think Dobson is probably her friend.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I don't think she has many friends, and she obviously doesn't seem to have a partner. So I think she's just chosen success over a personal life.
That's fair.
I don't know if we'll tap into that issue in this book.
Yeah, I doubt it. I mean, I don't know. I guess because Maggie's having a bit of overcoming of her own, right? She's with the agoraphobia and like coming into her own independence. Maybe, but I don't think so.
At the very least, we might get like a you shouldn't be alone on Christmas type of vibe.
Yeah, we are counting down to Christmas, so.
Yeah. But yeah, Eleanor's disappeared. Sir Jasper somehow ends up being poisoned.
Right. Yeah, I'll also point out to you, Maggie, I think kind of in line with what we've been saying, Maggie seems to think that there's something afoot, if you will, deeper than it seems. Ethan kind of has to wake her up and be like, okay, but that doesn't mean that's definitely the case, right? Like, it doesn't mean that there's not other risks, which I thought was an important highlight. Maggie has a very specific idea of what this is, not just a test, but a specific test to like be Eleanor's successor. And she makes a point at some point where she's like, oh, you can't just be making assumptions. Like, we're mystery people. We can't just make assumptions about this, that, the other. But I do find she makes several assumptions, and this is one of them where she's like, this has to be the case. And then Ethan saving her from this supposed shot, like, is the thing that wakes her up.
Yeah.
I also think it's funny because, of course, that's the way he gets importance in this story, right? Mm-hmm. I was thinking about this right from the beginning of the mystery of, oh, Maggie like has read all of Eleanor's books, so she's gonna have all the inside knowledge. She's gonna know what to do next. She's gonna have it all read. And at some point, Ethan is going to have specialized knowledge that makes him essential, so that way the rivals can work together. And that essential knowledge was guns,
yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, because that was the problem, right, with this situation. If Eleanor is setting up some kind of test, and if the test has to do with knowledge about her own books, then Maggie is right. Like, she is the only one that can figure this out. Because Sir Jasper is, who can say, and now he's poisoned, so he's definitely not doing anything. And Ethan has said he's never read the books.
I honestly don't believe him, but
I don't know. I do believe him.
yeah.
Yeah, I think I believe him because him saying he would follow after Maggie and like steal the victory from her is only hurtful if he hasn't read the books.
Yeah, I suppose I was thinking he has been quite pushy throughout the book, like showing up wherever Maggie is. Maybe that's just him following her, right? Like that would make sense. My thought is that he's following the train of thought, though. That he like knows the information she knows, and she just does not know that yet, and so that's why he's able to know where she is, what she's up to, things like that.
I could see that. I just think he's always watching her.
Yeah, no, I think that makes a lot of sense in this case. So, I'm not strongly attached to that idea, but
yeah.
The other thing here is like, of all the people that Eleanor has invited, Eleanor knows no one else knows this information. At least I doubt anyone else here is actually reading Eleanor's books because no one seems to like her. I understand that there's a plan for something here. I just don't understand why Maggie thinks this would be the plan. Like, you have to have specialized knowledge about my books to be successful. Because then she could just give it to Maggie. Like, there's no reason to play a game.
Well, I have some thoughts about this.
Oh.
But let's get into the suspects.
Okay.
We actually get another police interview excerpt about the list of suspects that at least Maggie and Ethan seem to have. We have Sir Jasper, but as we know, he's poisoned right now, so I don't know how much of a suspect.
Kind of a victim.
Yeah, I don't know if he's really a suspect right now. It is suspect, I guess, that he was in Eleanor's office.
For sure.
And if it was the tea and or cookies that was poisoned that were supposed to go to Eleanor, then why was he consuming them?
Yeah. That's probably just going to be a funny story later on, is my guess.
I would assume that as well, yeah.
I do think he still should be a suspect. One of the other assumptions that Maggie makes is that this is one person doing both things, which I don't know why she would make that assumption.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think this clears him of the potential gunshot, but it probably clears him of the poisoning, since I doubt that was his own doing.
Yeah. We've had a book before where it's like two different crimes going on. For some odd reason, the protagonist thinks it's one person doing both, but they're different enough that it makes sense for multiple people to be involved, right?
Yeah. Why are we poisoning and shooting, you know?
Right. So it makes sense for there to be multiple suspects if there is a crime going on. But yeah, Jasper is one of the other writers. He's maybe in the competition, but I don't know.
Yeah, if there is like really a competition in the way that Maggie has presented it, Jasper to me seems like the only other person who could compete. And it's only because we don't know enough about him.
I mean, to be fair, we don't know enough about any of these characters.
Yeah, that's true, honestly.
We also have Rupert, who is the nephew of Eleanor. Rupert is annoying and entitled, and obviously has a complex because he hates Ethan's guts. And I think is also trying to gaslight Eleanor.
Yeah, the whole, you invited Dr. Charles, and it's like, she was like, that never happened.
Yeah.
I was like, go off, tell him.
But also, I'm like, if there wasn't so much gaslighting in this book, I would almost believe maybe Eleanor is forgetting things, like maybe because she tripped before they get to this book, right? Or the beginning of this book, she ends up tripping down the stairs. So she's obviously feeling her age, I would say. So if she is retiring, if something is happening to her, like, could she be ill? Like, she obviously has another doctor. Like, is something going on? I don't know. It does make you question just a little bit. But Rupert is so much of a dickhead that I'm like, I don't want to believe him at all. So
yeah.
Rupert's wife is Kitty, who's a nurse who knows Dr. Charles, which is why he's probably there. She seems nice, but she's a little bit strange when Ethan has the plan to go search for Eleanor. She's like, oh, but we all had to put on our sweaters, like, you know.
Yeah. She's had, like, kind of a strong emotional response in that moment, right? Like, she was crying and, like, she said, like, oh, I didn't sleep because of the babies and whatever. So it seems like whatever she's experiencing is maybe being brushed off by these other circumstances. But yeah, I'm, like, suspicious that she just she's feeling the pressure of knowing something she shouldn't know.
Mm-hmm.
Because I definitely have some suspicions about Rupert, especially with inviting this other doctor and gaslighting Eleanor. So I'm wondering what she might know about what Rupert's up to.
Yeah. Yeah, and it could just be stress because she's obviously the only one other than this older woman with them that's taking care of the children. Like Rupert does
forgot
not.
About her. Yeah.
I know. Rupert does not care at all.
No, for sure.
So I can understand Kitty being very stressed, but she's also a nurse. So I'm like, should she be more concerned for the health of this older woman based on her profession? Maybe.
I think that's a good point. I think she's just generally overwhelmed and has like good reason to be experiencing giving the reactions she's giving. I just think that's like good cover for her also having something else going on is all. And I think like the author has Maggie have very positive thoughts about her, like, oh, like she saved Jasper, like she's gonna go rest now, like she's like a badass woman, you know. I think that's also maybe a misdirect though for her being at the center of something.
Yeah, we just don't know any reason why, I guess, other than basic inheritance.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, well, and again, like I think it really could just be Rupert's actions, and I think that would be inheritance driven. I'm not really sure that Kitty is actually up to anything at all. I really think it's just like my theory here is that it's a knowledge thing.
Yeah, I can see that. We already mentioned Dr. Charles, but he's also one of the suspects.
Yeah, I feel like he is here to like somehow like re-diagnose Eleanor or something. Like in his time there, I don't know. Like to be like give Rupert some credence of like, oh, like she's got dementia or something, and Dr. Charles can be like, yes, she has dementia, you know?
Yeah, I could see that. And then we have the Duke and Duchess, which the Duchess is the sister of Rupert, so like another niece, but also the Duchess seems to not know that. She like questions that when Maggie's like, so you're Rupert's sister? And she's like, yes, like with a question. So a very strange interaction. I don't know why it's like that. But also we don't interact much with these two. They're kind of just there.
I'm most confused about them. Yeah, I think we hear the least from them. So I actually forgot even about this tidbit too. Like I'm just like their interactions are so nothing to me that they did not store in my brain.
Yeah. And then the last suspect, but not the last character, is Freddie Baines, who is a nepo baby in the lawyer world. Yeah, so not family, but a lawyer with the firm that works with Eleanor. Weird that he's at this Christmas party.
I agree. But I mean, again, this is where I'm like, it sounds like this happens every year, right? Because he's like, oh, it was my turn to do it, as in other people at the law firm do it too.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that meant specifically for a Christmas party or like dealing with Eleanor in the general sense is Eleanor duty.
That makes a lot of sense too, because I am like, it is a little odd to make the lawyer be around for Christmas. Like, let them go to their families.
Yeah, because I don't know why you would need him here unless you had a plan of some kind.
Unless you're up to something, yeah.
We should note there's like one tower in this manor where you can get service, kind of, sometimes. Maggie does make a call from it, not that Deborah answers her. And when Jasper is when Jasper is poisoned.
Guess that's one way to cancel somebody.
Yeah. When Jasper is poisoned, Freddy's the one that goes to the tower to try and call an ambulance, right? And that doesn't seem to work out for him. So it could be peculiar that he's the one that goes and they can't get a call through. Or it could just be that there's a storm. I don't really know.
Yeah, I didn't really think about that as a suspicion point, but I guess it could be. And that was to call the police?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Well, then the inspector shows up too. Was that before or after that?
The inspector was supposed to be there for the party the night before, but he was coming in late because of the storm. Eleanor does have a conversation with him over the phone, like when Maggie and Ethan get there.
Yeah.
So he's another, not a suspect that's listed, but he is obviously another part of this plan, puzzle, setting, whatever is happening here. I don't really know. To backtrack a bit, though, I think you mentioned Cecilia with the stairs. She's Eleanor's niece and assistant, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't catch that she wasn't included as a suspect on that list.
Yeah, that's the weird part. Her and James, who's like the butler, the help, whatever, those two seem the closest to Eleanor, which would make sense. But yeah, they're not listed as suspects. So there must be some reason why Maggie and Ethan don't consider them suspects. Or something happens to them that we haven't gotten to yet.
Right, because we're looking at it from the end, kind of, with those excerpts.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point. Yeah, my suspicions on Cecilia are so she tells us about how Eleanor fell, and it was like a railing that fell first, and then it's just like she is an older woman and so couldn't handle that. Like, that's the vibe I got. Is that how you understood it?
Oh, I think it was the railing, but I think there was also like the rug on the stairs, like the runner. I think, actually, why don't I just look? I have the book.
Yeah, it might be worth looking, because like I had understood of like, oh, like something external to Eleanor caused her to fall in a way that might cause anyone to fall, but it's different because Eleanor's older.
Okay, so according to Cecilia, the runner was loose and the railing was old.
Yeah, I guess I can't really be too critical of an old railing or probably a loose runner, but maybe someone could have done something there. I guess the way she said it to me initially gave me some suspicion that was not accident. Those were not accidental features of it. I think it would be bold of Cecilia to both notice that, take advantage of that, and say that out loud to other people. However, she also like immediately tells them about the secret new book that she's supposed to keep a secret. So that could just be because that was part of Eleanor's plan for her to, quote, spill the deets, but otherwise it could just be that Cece speaks very freely.
Yeah, I did see the fall as just an accident. I think also because we know part of the manor is like falling apart, right? Like the tower is...
Yeah, some things are unmaintained.
Yeah, so I could see the stairs being a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to your point about her like maybe putting on a show, kind of. I did feel that way maybe about her giving the tea to Eleanor's office. Like, because there's like a crash that makes Maggie and Ethan come find her. And then she has the tea tray. So I was like, what fell? Like, what happened in this scenario?
Yeah.
For her to freak out. So it almost seems like she wanted them to see that she was delivering the tea.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously we have the locked room mystery that happens afterwards. So
I think there's something to be said too of like she is a staff member for Eleanor, right? Just as James is. It's possible they could have been in on whatever plan.
yeah, that's what I think. I think anybody who's not a suspect, Cecilia, James, Dobson, are helping Eleanor with whatever they're doing. And that's why they're not suspects.
Yeah, do you think at the point where they're getting interviewed like this after everything has happened, it's well known that Eleanor had a plan and that's why they've been excused?
I think so. I think that's the reason why the interviews feel so lighthearted. Because it doesn't feel like a serious crime has happened. And I could imagine when they find Eleanor, she probably has some kind of quote-unquote villain's monologue, right? That would fit the genre, so...
Huh. But then there still is a crime, and that's why they're still being investigated. Because I'm like, yeah, like, what would have led them to be where they are in the end? So Eleanor had a plan. Like, to me, is like, they're getting investigated because the plan failed or something went horribly wrong, you know? So otherwise, why have Inspector Dobson be the guy, and yet we have Inspector Patel doing the questioning?
Well, okay. There is some questionable things happening, right? But I think right now I'm under the belief that this is all a part of the plan.
Okay.
We have Maggie saying, it's a test, and then we've reached a point where her and Ethan are like, it's not a test. And then I think the twist or whatever at the end will be actually Maggie was right the entire time.
Right. Especially given the gaslighting stuff, you know.
Yes, for sure. There is a strangeness to this test though, right? Like if it's just follow the clues of Eleanor's books, then you're right, Maggie's the only one that could solve this, right? Unless Ethan is hiding something. But I think this contest is, I mean, it's not a contest. I think it's split in two. I think there's the Eleanor book aspect that Maggie is supposed to solve, and then I think there is the gun mystery that Ethan is supposed to solve. Because I don't think Maggie was actually shot. I think the fact that there's an entire gun room and somebody broke the lock to take this specific gun that wouldn't have been able to fire right, that Ethan could recognize from the sound alone, I think this is his clue to follow.
Interesting. So, like, you think basically they shot a blank or they shot at nothing and he heard it and that was enough for him to act. And that's his trigger for his mission.
Yes. Well, because the issue is what's in the maze, right? Like, we get to the end, supposedly, but there's nothing there.
Right.
So where were the clues leading? Unless the purpose was to get Maggie to a place where somebody would shoot at her, which would give Ethan a clue to follow. And then also we have Jasper being poisoned, quote unquote poisoned. And Maggie is what? She's the expert on poisons, right? So this is her next clue to follow.
Oh, but do you think Jasper was not actually poisoned? Do you think he's in on it? Or you think he was actually poisoned?
I think it could go two ways. It's either he's not actually poisoned or he was given a low enough dose that Ethan would think he was poisoned. Because I can't remember if it's him or if it's Kitty that mentions the pulse being off. If it's Kitty, then she might be in on it as well.
Yeah, I think it was Kitty, but don't quote me.
Okay. Because I was going to say, if it's Ethan that noticed that, then maybe Jasper was poisoned slightly. Just enough so that, we think he's dead, but he's actually fine. And then the coincidence of them having charcoal that they could give him to save him. It's just like a lot of weird things happening.
Now, I did think it was interesting that they emphasized how the poison wasn't enough to kill Jasper, but would have been enough to kill Eleanor. Because I'm like, what killer wouldn't just put enough poison in to kill anyone? Like, why are we being so scientific about it? However, if this is super duper planned, maybe that is like really beneficial, right? Like maybe that is the case. They're trying to effectively partially poison a Jasper who may be in on it for performative reasons.
Yeah. Or it could be if Jasper is involved in this test, he literally was not supposed to eat those cookies and he's just a dumbass, right?
Yeah.
It could have been poisoned, but it could have been poisoned so that Maggie would find out about it.
Right. She would see the poison or find the poison.
Yes, but then Jasper got in the way of that by actually consuming it.
Yeah. Now, I could see that as being a place where it went wrong.
Yeah, and then of course they have charcoal on hand as a just in case something happens with the poison, but they weren't actually planning on using it type of situation.
Okay, but then I wonder why. Like, why all this setup for Ethan and Maggie?
I mean, I don't think the retiring idea is completely insane to think. But yeah, to your point, like, yeah, I think there is something more going on. Part of me thinks maybe Eleanor is just trying to set up Maggie and Ethan as a couple. I think she's just matchmaking.
Damn. I was like thinking it can't just be to get them together, can it? But maybe you're right. Maybe she's just like, I like these authors. Get together.
Because there's something weird about, like, when Maggie and Eleanor are talking, like, actually having a nice conversation with each other, Eleanor turns and is like, well, what do you think about Ethan? Like, she has interest in them being a couple. So I'm like, that's
a good point.
Is that too... I don't know. It doesn't feel like it could be a real reason to put on this much of a show, but I'm like, this is a Christmas cozy mystery. Like, maybe it is enough.
I have a fresh idea. I think she's setting this up maybe to get them together, but more importantly, to inform what she writes in the rest of her 100th book.
Oh.
She's setting up a story for them. And so I think she's doing that so she, like, so whatever happens becomes that 100th book.
That would be interesting, because we know Maggie's going to read it, right? Like, she has part of the 100th book.
Yeah, maybe she'll read the setup,
She'll read the setup, and she'll see what's missing, and how it might relate to what's happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
That could happen. Because Deborah does say, something is happening next year. You might be a part of it. And it's like, it has to do with publishing in some capacity, right? Like, why else would she mention it? So
right, and maybe at the end of all this, they, like, do a co-authorship,
Yeah, I guess so.
Would be wild, though. I'd be offended by that behavior, personally. Like, you did what to me?
I wonder if that's the point, though, because I don't know if we're trying to talk badly about it or not, but Maggie is so clearly parasocial towards Eleanor that it is unhealthy for her to have this much attachment to somebody she doesn't know.
Maybe this is a Meet Your Hero sitch.
Yeah, I'm wondering if, because... And if we're going with the storyline of Eleanor has given up everything to write, like she's given up a family, she's given up friends, like she's alone in an empty manor type of situation, then maybe she is actually just the villain, right? Like,
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
but yeah, I think that's my theory so far, just because all of the suspects feel unimportant.
Yeah, but sorry, did you already address this? Do you have a theory of why they are talking to a separate inspector afterwards?
Oh, I think it's also just part of the performance. Like, I
Okay, like
don't,
you think the separate inspector is also in on it?
yeah, because Dobson mentions him and his friend went to Eleanor, right? Like,
Mm,
I think Eleanor is close with most of the inspectors, if I had to guess, considering how long she's been there. Yeah, Dobson and her have been friends for a very long time. So, and I think Dobson is present at the party to maybe keep an eye on it, but also to play a certain part, right? The part of the inspector. And also, he's a little bit of an instigator, right? Because he's blaming Maggie and Ethan, which is causing them to investigate.
yeah. I was wondering if his behavior was, yeah, if it was intentional or not, because he also does some, I don't know, the language he uses is kind of suspicious. I don't know, in a different way. Like he says to Maggie, "Why do you think you've been shot at?" Which feels very undermining and like, I don't know, like him not believing her has issues as him being in the cop role. So I was like, I hope this is actually just part of the plan and not him being kind of the worst kind of cop, you know?
Yeah, I think it's part of the plan. I think him mentioning he would like talk through investigations with Eleanor is like them planning out what's happening here. And he does mention like, yeah, why do you think you've been shot at? Because like we know shots went off, but that is a good point. Why do we think Maggie has been shot at?
Yeah. Which it's funny because she doesn't answer the question, and the answer is Ethan.
Yeah, Ethan thinks that. And then also they end up thinking it's not that Maggie's being shot at. They think somebody was trying to shoot Eleanor, right? So like that just enforces the mystery they're putting together in their head, the assumptions they're making, right? Which could be part of the plan.
True.
And then also Dobson is very strange about the tea and the cookies. Like he takes a special interest in them. So like it seems like he's poking at things he wants them to investigate.
Right. He's guiding them a bit.
I think so, yes.
And that would make a lot of sense too for why she was like, "You better get here." You know, like if they called when they had the call the night before. I'm sure Eleanor was like, "No, like you need to be here for this to work."
Mm-hmm.
Well, I asked you a lot of questions about your theory because I don't have a super strong one of my own to share, so wanted to flesh yours out more. I do think if there's actual criminal activity here, that the person doing the shooting is not the person doing the poisoning for sure.
Mm-hmm.
If it's all set up by Eleanor, then that theory just doesn't even mean anything. So, I do think, you know, we've kind of expressed this already. I do think Eleanor set something up here. I'm not sure that it was like successor to her series. Like I have my theory that I just came up with, I guess, of like thinking that it's the 100th book, but like I thought maybe her estate or something like that, maybe something of monetary value, or I don't know, just like not like having Maggie take over as a writer for her books though. Because Maggie's got a personal interest in feeling like becoming Eleanor, and Eleanor I don't think has that same interest, so I think that's all coming from Maggie's angle and not Eleanor's angle, so I don't believe it.
Right. Yeah, and I'm not sure it would be a good ending for Maggie to become Eleanor, right? Like, that doesn't seem like a good thematic ending.
I mean, being honest, like Eleanor doesn't have a life I would want, and that's my personal opinion. I think Maggie's seeing that maybe she wants it, but I think more so she just sees that she relates to her.
Yeah.
I will say I'm hoping that the second half of the book is quite different from the first half. I mean, not that I always like when books have really strong shifts halfway through. That doesn't work, I think, but I'm really looking for the mystery now to actually take feature.
Yeah, to be fair, yeah, I think we're gonna get that. We're getting Ethan's POV, and we already know he's like in love with Maggie, so we don't really have to deal too much with the romance, I feel like. But yeah, we're in a point now where the mystery feels serious enough
Exactly.
for them to actually investigate. So I see the shift.
I have to say, like, coming into this conversation, I was feeling a little bit like, I don't know if I like this book, but now we've been talking about it more. I'm actually feeling pretty good. I think I've been enjoying this conversation, and that's helping me understand that I maybe actually enjoy this book so far.
Yeah, I get that. We'll see if it sticks the landing, I suppose.
Yeah, that'll be the thing for sure.
Yeah. And as always, if any listeners, I guess, have their own thoughts and theories about what they think will happen in the second half of this book, all of our socials are in the description. And thanks for listening.
Bye.